Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to take part in this debate. I should begin by reminding members that I'm a member of the Musicians' Union. I was previously a freelance music tutor, and I'm also convener of the cross-party group in music. It is a bittersweet experience to take part in this debate. Sweet because it gives me an opportunity to talk about music, but unfortunate that this excellent inquiry undertaken by the Education and Skills Committee has been prompted by what are legitimate and serious concerns regarding the provision of instrumental music services across Scotland. And I want to put on record my thanks to the committee for producing this very considered, thoughtful and serious piece of work. I also want to recognise the contribution of all those who gave evidence, both orally and written submissions to the committee, and in particular to the EIS and the Music Education Partnership Group, who I've had the pleasure of engaging with at the cross-party group in music, where the question of music education and instrumental services has now become a standing item on the agenda. There's a number of themes that I think are emerging in this debate and our deliberations. One is between local and national responsibility. Another is between the instrumental and the intrinsic value of music. And one is between music education and instrumental education. And I would like to, time permitting, take each one in turn. On the question of local or national, I think there are very legitimate and understandable points made by COSLA and local authorities. And I understand that they face difficult decisions that, as well as being difficult in purely budgetary terms, can be politically difficult as well, given the multifarious demands and competition for resources placed on them. But the point I would wish to echo is that made by the Cabinet Secretary, which is that local authorities in different parts of Scotland, including in Renfrewshire in my own constituency, have demonstrated that they are capable of delivering instrumental music services without a charge. And I think what can be learned from that is that it is possible, and I would hope other local authorities would look and would engage with Renfrewshire and Glasgow City and other local authorities to understand how they have been able to deliver this service. Now, I respect local democracy, and I would not wish to see the imposition of a national music agency which would undermine that, though I do await with interest the outcome of the legal case that's ongoing with regards to the 1980 Act, because I personally do see, and I say this from a very subjective point of view, instrumental education as part of the core curriculum and indeed as part of music education. I do not believe instrumental music tuition can be separated from music education any more than physical activity can be separated from physical education within a high school or primary setting for that matter. I believe that where all PE to consist of were to be watching sport or discussing sport, then people would legitimately say that was not physical education. And I think very much the same applies to instrumental education as well and music education. Music education, historiography, composition, listening skills are all very important, but it is part of a broader holistic approach. The ultimate endeavour in all forms of musical education is to be able to perform and play, and there are many disciplines, and I say that as someone who has studied musicology and who did a master's degree in composition which feed towards that. But I think for any common sense definition of what music is, it is a process of listening to that oral phenomena. It is of attending a concert or any sort of music making event, and to suggest that the actual art of performing can somehow be separate, I do not really think is a sustainable position. Now, the final point I want to come to is what I think is one of the most contentious issues, and it's one I struggle with, which is the instrumental and the intrinsic value of music. Now, for many policymakers, and particularly trying to persuade a sceptical audience, we will often adduce the various additionalities brought through music education. Many of them have been articulated this afternoon. Many are articulated in the report by the committee, and many are indeed articulated in what's going on now, the report by the Music Education Partnership Group, and indeed in the Change the Tune Instrumental Charter from the EIS. And they are all very valid arguments. But fundamentally, if the only argument for instrumental music services is that it can improve attainment in other areas, then it does leave open the possibility in future that should some better means be identified, then that would vitiate the argument No longer would there be an argument for instrumental music services if these outcomes could be achieved by alternative means. So that's why I think it is incredibly important that we continue to argue for the intrinsic value of music as something that enriches us. I have found that perhaps one of the most powerful accounts of the value of music I ever heard was in reading an account given by a palliative care nurse, and it was in the reflections of people at the end of their life and what their regrets would be. And the regrets weren't, I wish I'd had a bigger car, I wish I'd spent more hours at work. It was things such as, I wish I'd spent more time with my family, I wish I'd learned a language, and I wish I'd learned to play a musical instrument. And I think giving a young person the gift of the ability to play a musical instrument is something they will take for the rest of their lives. And I don't think there's any more beautiful or worthwhile gift our educators can give. And I believe that's why we should support instrumental music services and instrumental music tuition for all young people in Scotland.